Hi everyone, good day, good evening. Welcome to the channel Let Us Java. So this is our second session, and before we get into it, let's just quickly take a look into it, whatever we have discussed in the previous session. So previously we started with the introduction of Java programming language, where we discussed the three version of Java, which is generally outside market, whatever people used to discuss like core Java, advanced Java, and J2EE, right? But we have told you, like, from Oracle side, the official version, that edition which has been declared are J2SE, J2EE, and J2ME, right? For each of these version we have discussed already in detail. So I have running note already placed in the description of the video. You can go and check if you want to check in the more detail, or you can go through the video itself, right? We discussed about standalone application, cloud server architecture, advanced Java. We discuss about why do we need it, client server architecture implementation, right? J2ME, and mobile application development, we need J2ME. So we discussed on the introduction part of the Java programming language, right? And then later on we went towards the Java history, right? So we took a look into it, right? Why Java came into the picture, which where I told you, right, in 1991, Sun Microsystem wanting to develop their product called remote controller for which uh, for the chip in the remote control, they wanted to have it programmed, and for that they needed a programming language. So they wanted to go for Java programming language. Why they wanted to go for Java programming language? This should be a question, right? Because in early 90s, we already have a programming language in place, which is basically called as Pascal, right? And Pascal was developed by Nicholas Wirth, right? And Sun Microsystem and Nicholas Wirth had a meeting, and Nicholas Wirth provided a solution to the Sun Microsystem for the development of their remote control. But the solution was rejected. Why? Solution was rejected because Nicholas was providing a solution in the POP, I mean programming, procedure-oriented programming way, but the Sun Microsystem wanted to have a solution in the OOPS manner, right? Object-oriented programming language, or in this paradigm, they wanted to have a solution, right? So, which is why they had to reject the solution of Pascal, and they went to develop their own programming language, which became a Java programming language later on. How it became Java, we will discuss furthermore, right? So, excuse me, sorry. Now, Sun Microsystem made their mind like they have to develop their own programming language. They established a project Green, right, which was led by James Gosling and Patrick Norton, right? And they started working on this project. So now, anyway, I mean, if I have to start developing on some application, I should be having a rough idea about that application, right? There should be some synopsis, right? There should be an interface in place, right? Interface is the object-oriented programming concept. Interface is like the skeleton, right? So similar way, we should have some skeleton, right? What we want from the product that we are going to develop. So similarly, they wanted to chalk out the key feature they wanted to incorporate in their programming language, right? So what were those key features? Those key features were simple programming language they want to develop. Simple programming language means the programming language should take less execution time, should take less memory, should have less power consumption. All right. So this is first feature. Second feature, they wanted to have tight coded programming language. Tight coded programming language means excuse me, sorry, they wanted to write less line of code, but that less line of code should achieve more or bigger task. This is what we mean about tight coded programming language. Third, they wanted to have architectural neutral programming language. Architectural neutral programming language means they should be able to run their program in anywhere, any device. There should not be any restriction, right? For C, C++, it's a restriction. Like if you're developing a C program in the Windows, you have to compile and execute in Windows only. The dependency is there, platform dependency is there. But in case of Java, you compile once and run anywhere, right? Because of JVM. We're going to discuss that in the later part. But anyway, they wanted to have, this is what we call the architecture neutral, right? So they wanted to develop an architecture neutral programming language. Fine. So now this is what we discussed in the previous session. Now let's discuss in detail in this very session, the further story continues. So what happened? Finally, they had developed. They started in 1991, and it took around 1.5 years, I guess, to develop the Java programming language along with the product. So better, I guess, I would say in 1993 they developed the product, which is the remote controller, and the name they kept as Star 7. Right. So Star 7, as I have already written here, Star 7 product they have developed and using Java programming language, but unfortunately that was a flop product. I mean flop, I mean to say it did not make good impression in the market and it was not that famous in the market. So I mean it did not make good progress in the market. So what happened? All of a sudden, now if product is not good, not progressed well, then obviously Java would not be you know getting the limelight into the market, right? But fortunate things happened then in 1994. All of a sudden, there was a boom of internet in the market. Okay, internet came into the picture all of a sudden, and you in order to access the internet, you need a browser, right? So their Mosaic browser was there in the market, which was quite famous for the serving the internet or running the internet or connecting to the internet, right? So that Mosaic browser was developed by Mark Anderson. All right, just for knowledge sake, I'm telling you. So what happened? Java Sun Microsystem thought to enter into this, internet world and having created a new, you know, sorry, and they thought to create a new browser itself because only Mosaic was there in the market. There was no competitor, so they thought to develop a browser, and eventually they developed a browser called Hot Java. And this was a very good product. I mean, it made very good progress in the market, and from there Sun Microsystem and Java got the limelight. And I guess it took from 1994, it again took 1.5 years to develop this Hot Java product, the browser of Sun Microsystem. And 1996 Jan 23, finally the JDK 1.0 was launched into the market. Right? Sounds good. So this was the only thing, right? So this is what the whole history of Java. I mean, you can go through several internet topics, several videos. I mean, you would find a lot of things. But in the crisp for nutshell, if I have to talk about Java history, this is the Java history. So let's move ahead from the next topic that we have in our radar. It's Java versus other, basically the comparison. So let's discuss the first point of it. So what are the key differences between the Java and the other programming language I have to discuss? So Java is a static programming language. And I'm sorry, let me correct it. Java is a dynamic programming language, while C++ are static programming languages. All right. So what do we mean by static and dynamic programming language? So static programming language is when the memory allocation happen for the primitive data type at compile time. That is what we call static memory. The language is static. Programming language is static. But whenever we say the memory allocation happens at the runtime, that's what we say dynamic programming language, right? So we discussed like this is what the static and dynamic programming language means. But eventually we should also understand what is primitive data type, right? So let's discuss primitive data type as well. So primitive data type are the predefined data type, you should say, or already compiler knows the meaning of those data type, right? So this is what we call the primitive data type. But since again in this very definition we encountered a term called compiler, so let's understand what is compiler also. Right? So compiler, let's understand in this way. Let's say there are two persons. One person speaks Spanish, another person speaks English. and those person want to communicate to each other. How would they communicate? There's no way they can communicate each other, right? I mean, they won't understand. Even if they will be speaking, they won't understand each other, right? So what do we need to do to provide a solution to this problem? We need to bring a intermediator, right, which would understand the language of English speaking person, convert it into the Spanish and tell it to Spanish his instruction, and vice versa. In that way they can communicate, right? Similar thing happens when we have to speak to computer or communicate with the computer, right? So you see, whatever things I am writing here is in English language, right? But do you think computer understand this English language? J, A, V, this each characters. Do you think computer understand that? No, computer does not understand this, right? Computer only understand binary language, that is 010101. And moreover, not only binary language, computer doesn't even understand 010101. Computer only understand flow of current, because at the end of the day, it's all our chipset only, right? Digital electronics, that's why it came into the picture, right? 0 means low, 1 means high, and high low high low high low. This circuit works like this. And or gate, we have already studied, right? You must have studied in your BTech or graduation digital electronics, so you know how this combination works, right? How demarks marks works. So all subject study itself is there, but I'm not going to go into it. But I want to basically, what I want to say, like, computer just understand flow of current, and flow of current is being represented by a system. We call it as a binary system, right? And binary system is called machine code, machine language, machine understandable language, right? So we are sending instruction to the computer in a high level language, be it Java, be it any other language, and computer understanding it in the binary way. How? There has to be some mediator, right? And that mediator is compiler. Long story short, compiler is the mediator for high level language conversion to low level, which is a machine level. Machine level language conversion to high level, compiler is the person who is responsible for that. Okay, so compiler is responsible for converting high level language to low level language, or you say machine code. I want to understand. All right, machine code. All right. So this is just an in nutshell. If I have to speak, I have just given this definition to you. But there are other responsibilities of compiler also. We are gonna see shortly, or in next video, whenever we get the opportunity to discuss about it. But I am just, let's not deviate from the topic. Our I'm talking about the differences, and differences also I told you. A primitive data type, what is primitive data type, what is static programming language, dynamic programming language, and compiler also. Now we have discussed in nutshell. Detail we will discuss. There are other responsibilities of also compiler does actually, but we are going to discuss about those also, but in the later videos, right? So compiler is done. Let's come out of it, right? And primitive data type, I have told you, let's come out of it, right? So Java is a static programming language. This is also done. Come out of it. So yeah, so this is the first difference. Let's discuss the other difference uh, of the Java programming language versus other programming language in the upcoming videos. Okay, in the next video we are going to discuss the next difference between Java and C++. So till then, bye bye. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.